The News Day continues here in One News Now Business. I'm Diego Castro. Here are the biggest stories on the economic and corporate fronts. The national government's budget surplus ballooned in April as revenue growth outpaced expenditures. Preliminary data from the Treasury Bureau showed that the government's budget surplus amounted to 66.8 billion pesos in April. This is far higher than the 4.9 billion peso surplus recorded in the same month a year ago. The latest balance is also a reversal from the 210 billion deficit posted in March 2023. Analysts mainly attribute the budget surplus to a seasonal increase in tax collections, this following the schedule of income tax returns. Given the latest balance, the fiscal deficit for January to April of this year narrowed to 204.1 billion pesos, as the expenditure increase also slowed. The latest deficit is 34.57% lower than the almost 312 billion peso deficit in the same period a year earlier. However, analysts still say the fiscal balance would still likely end in a deficit by December. The Bangko Sentral sees lower inflation in May. BSP Governor Felipe Medallo said inflation is rapidly easing year on year due to high base effects. For this month, he said inflation will be significantly lower than a 6.6% print in April. Medallo said this would put inflation on track to return within a 2 to 4% target by September or October. The Philippine Statistics Authority is scheduled to release its inflation data for the month of May on June 6. An eighth berth will be added to the Manila International Container Terminal, courtesy of the International Container Terminal Services Incorporation or ICTSI. The ICTSI sees the new berth bringing economic benefits to the country, given the added capacity to handle growing trade volumes. The new berth will be constructed in phases and is expected to increase the Manila Port's capability to service foreign ultra-container vessels. Meanwhile, the Customs Bureau said it is gearing up for strengthening trade and investment between the Philippines and Europe by making transactions more seamless. This as the Bureau announces its newly forged partnership with the EU-ASEAN Business Council and the European Chamber of Commerce of the Philippines. The agency says it is working on transitioning to paperless transactions and streamlining clearance processes for donations during calamities. National Treasurer Rosalia De Leon says the government is not inclined to issue new catastrophe or CAT bonds. De Leon told Business World that they are now working with a budget department on insurance of schools and hospitals. They aim to provide necessary funding for rehabilitation of these strategically important assets when damaged from natural hazards. In 2019, the World Bank issued three-year catastrophe-linked bonds on behalf of the Philippines, which functions like insurance. Analysts said the government should utilize other risk transfer mechanisms amid the impact of climate change on the country. These include green bonds, carbon credits, climate insurance, sustainability-linked bonds, and climate derivatives. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. Typhoon Betty maintains its strength as it now moves west-northwestward over the sea east of Batanes. The center of the eye of Typhoon Betty was estimated at 315 kilometers east of Basco, Batanes, according to the 11 a.m. bulletin of State Weather Bureau Pag-asa. Typhoon Betty has strength of up to 150 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 185 kph. With this, the typhoon is forecast to generally move slowly between today and tomorrow. This as Betty turns northward over the waters east of Batanes. Afterwards, the typhoon is expected to gradually accelerate northeastward. Signal number 2 is raised over the province of Batanes as well as the northeastern portion of Cagayan. This includes Babuyan Islands. Meanwhile, signal number 1 has been raised over the rest of Manila and Cagayan and the province of Apayao. Under the same warning signal are portions of Isabela, Ilocos Norte, Kalinga, and Abra. Typhoon Betty is expected to exit the Philippine area of responsibility late Thursday or early Friday.
Nakikita po natin sa ating latest analysis na maaari itong lumabas or lalabas ito ng ating area of responsibility by Friday. And also, nakikita din po natin na mataas yung tsansa na patuloy ngang hihina itong si Bagyong Betty. And by late Thursday or early Friday ay posible na lamang po itong maging severe tropical storm. And throughout ng forecast period natin, hindi rin natin inaalis yung possibility na mas magiging mabilis pa yung paghina nito due to unfavorable environment.
Among members of the Senate majority who expressed reservations for the Maharlika Investment Fund is presidential sister, Senator Amy Marcos, who believes that the fund's purpose should be still clarified. Senators are currently fast-tracking deliberations on the proposed Maharlika Investment Fund, which has been certified as urgent by Amy's brother, President Marcos. The Senate recorded complete attendance on Monday's session as lawmakers rushed to tackle priority bills, including the MIF, before June 2, when Congress is set to adjourn session for a 2-month break. Despite this, Senate Majority Leader Joel Villanueva assures that proposals will still be scrutinized thoroughly until Wednesday. But Senator Amy Marcos says it should also be made clear where the government will source funding for the measure, noting that current funds are not enough for such investments. Senator Marcos also believes that passing the bill should not be rushed.
Ako, kung sakasakaling minamadali, hindi ako papayag kasi malaking pera yan, mababaon ang ating mga anak at hindi dapat minamadali yung ganyan. Ang balita ko, pati yung DOF, may pinapasok pang amendment.
Senator Chis Escudero also expressed concern over Maharlika's funding. He notes that the Maharlika Investment Corporation, or the body that will oversee the investment fund, has not undergone a test of economic viability. Escudero says this is required under the 1987 Constitution, based on the provision of establishment of government-owned and controlled corporations, or GOCCs. The lawmaker says this will serve as basis in assessing if the fund has the potential to earn through investments.
Kung ito'y kikita nga ba o hindi. Dahil nga sa karanasan natin noong panahon ng Marcelo, ang daming nilikhang GOCC na lahat naman ay nalugi lamang. Sinasabi nila, makakatulong daw ito sa bansa dahil makakagawa ng tulay, ng kalye, ng dam, ng school building at iba mga ospital. Ang tanong ko, ito'y korporasyon. Sabi nila kikita. Nasaan ang kita ng gobyerno pag nagpagawa sila ng kalye?
Still on the proposed Maharlika Fund, a heated debate erupted between bill sponsor Senator Mark Villar and Senate Minority Leader Coco Pimentel. Pimentel questioned Villar on the composition of Maharlika's Board of Directors and its implementation for more than 2 hours. The minority senator then asked Senate President Mig Zubiri to suspend his period of interpellation and continue in the next session.
This is a good point in the measure, Mr. President, to suspend the interpellation, Mr. President, so we can start tomorrow on a new topic, which is now the fund. So, tapos na tayo sa corporation, Mr. President. then we need to talk about the fund which is being managed by the corporations.
But Villar cut off Pimentel and blocked the latter's move to further question the MIF, saying they have already deliberated on the bill extensively. Zubiri and 11 other senators backed Villar's objection, while only Pimentel and Senator Risa Ontiveros voted to resume the interpellation.
I think I've covered every square inch of this bill. If maybe you might, but we've had four committee hearings, technical working groups, a roadshow, and this is the third week that I've opened myself up to all questions. I think to be fair to me, I've really endeavored to make sure to answer to the best of my ability, and now I feel it's my right, and I'd like to exercise.
The Senate passes more proposed measure on third and final reading days before Congress adjourns on June 2 for a 2-month break. Among the measures approved by the upper house is the Trabajo para sa Bayan Bill, which seeks to create a national employment generation and recovery master plan. Through this, the bill aims to stimulate national and local economic growth, enhance industry collaboration, and provide support to workers and businesses. Under the measure, a Trabajo para sa Bayan or TPB Interagency Council will be created to formulate the TPB plan, which includes action plans for MSMEs, worker upskilling, employer incentives, and reintegration of OFWs, among others. The Senate also approved a bill expanding the coverage of the estate tax amnesty. Senate Bill 2219 extends the availment period of the estate tax amnesty for 2 years, or from June 15, 2023 to June 15, 2025. It also expands the coverage to include the estates of those who died on or before May 31, 2022. The current amnesty gives taxpayers a one-time opportunity to settle unpaid tax obligations covering the estates of people who died on or before December 31, 2017. Under the bill, the payment of the estate tax may also be done in installment within 2 years without civil penalty or interest. The Senate also gave its third reading approval on the Regional Specialty Centers Act, which is one of the administration's priority measures. The bill seeks to establish specialty centers across the country to make affordable health care more accessible to Filipinos in the regions. This measure seeks to decentralize the services of specialty centers like the Philippine Children's Medical Center, Philippine Heart Center, Lung Center, and the National Kidney and Transplant Institute, which are all located in Metro Manila. And those are the top business stories of the hour. I'm Diego Castro. Join us again at 2 p.m. We are One News, all sides, all the time.